this whole Tatum Kerr thing, that's the headline for tonight. Kerr didn't play Tatum during the Olympics, and Tatum is a lock top 10 player in the league. Is there really anything to that now that we've gotten so far beyond it? I mean, Tatum is a pro. He's excelled. He knows he's good. He's the best player on the best team. Is there really any extra juice to tonight?
Players always find motivation in something, right? Like the slightest disrespect. You could make up a website and say they rank Jason Tatum the 13th best player in the NBA, and he'd be like, man, I'm going to show them. You know, it sounds weird. But you think about the summer that he had. Wins an NBA title, cover of 2K, biggest contract in NBA history, like it's just all
gold
this,
medal.
Wins a gold medal, but doesn't play a lot, and it's just that you always focus on the one little slight. I do love that too. That he comes back and everyone's telling him like, oh man, you know, so sorry, like that you didn't play a lot, and giving him and trying to talk him up. And Joe Mazzulla is like, I love it. I love that you got disrespected. How are you going to respond?
Yeah.
And so
teachable moments.
100%. And I don't think it's something that is going to, like, he doesn't sit there at night going, Steve Kerr. But I do think when he sees him over there, it is just a little opportunity to remind him that he feels like he should have been out there. And, you can say, oh, it was the matchup against Serbia or whatever, but I suspect you'll get a motivated. The question is, does it manifest itself as Jason Tatum has a dominant night, or does Jason Tatum try to get too locked in or too hyped in this game and then like doesn't play a great game? So that we'll have a sign of his maturity in that moment.
So far, there have been a couple of moments this season, specifically the shot to force overtime against
Indiana.
Thank you. Where I thought, what are you doing taking that shot? Oh, that's why you're taking that shot.
Right.
So there have been a couple of times already this season where I see him kind of maybe forcing things a little bit.
Sure.
But he's so confident right now, and he's got enough game. And even more so than a big outside shot like that, I love to see him continuing what he started a season and a half ago, going into the paint, using his size and his kind of, a little bit more mass on his frame than he had in years past, and asserting himself down low to where I say, you know what? Go ahead and push the envelope a little bit there, Jason. I don't see any problem with it unless he's just having an off night and he demands to keep shooting anyway. Then it becomes a problem.
I think even the other night was a great example. 3-point shots falling. Like that first half was ridiculous. Like he made everything, and you're sitting there, and I don't mind if he shoots like that because he's making them, right?
Yeah.
And I guess the real balance should be a good shot, and I think most of the time it was isolated on Trae Young. Yeah, shoot that shot. Second half, he doesn't have it going. Would love to see him in that instance be more aggressive to the basket. And so I just think there's a balance there. Even coming off the Knicks game on opening night, hit a lot of threes, then kind of went cold. I just think you have to be able to identify in the moment. That shot's not working. While it's easy, he's talented enough to go to the basket and get easy points and start feeling good about himself. And so I just think that's like the maybe the last step for him. I don't know what else he can do to take him to another level beyond being able to be more consistent and identify in moments that something's not working. So, yeah, I think he's been better at it. And I do think there's a weight lifted from winning a title. Like, all of a sudden, you're not obsessing about what everybody else thinks, which is weird when we say that he's probably still thinking about what Kerr thinks of the summer. But I do think you're just a little bit more free. You don't have necessarily as much to prove, and yet there's always something that lingers.
Jaylen Brown not playing tonight, third straight game he's missed. When you get to injuries at this time of year, especially with this team, I'm thinking that if it was a playoff game, he'd be out there. I'm thinking that they're saving him for later by resting him as long as possible.
I would think if it was a playoff game, Porzingis would be out there. Porzingis is doing the same stuff when we see him in pregame warmups that we saw in the playoffs. So
you think he could play right now?
I mean, I don't think he could play very well. It's similar to what he got in the postseason, right? Like where he gave you one game against Dallas, and then he was pretty much toast. Like they had nothing left there, or because of that just injury is just weird. So like in an emergency, you could have him out there. I think it's good that you have the luxury of being able to wait till December or whenever it is. But even he said as soon as he is physically ready, he is going to play. And I keep hearing people say, well, you have the luxury, bring him through to January, and I'm like, It's easy to say that. It's harder when the player is like, I want to be out there and I want to like see what I've got. And if I'm feeling good, let me go out there. So I go the same thing with Jaylen. If Jaylen wasn't out there in Atlanta getting up shots before the game, I'd be concerned. When guys disappear, that's usually when it's like, oh, that's not good. But when they're present, that usually means they're making progress. They're at a spot, and you never know what to trust. And I know Joe was on this station yesterday saying, we're not concerned. He's not concerned. You're always concerned when it's your superstar player and they're not out there. But I've gotten no sense from anybody around the team yet that this is something to worry about.
Do you have a relationship with Mazzulla?
So he has always been very nice to me, and we actually, look, he. There are moments where he does not want to elaborate and doesn't want to talk. But we did a little sit down with him before the season, and normally he wants to get out of there and move on. We did a little different tactic this time, and he wanted to kind of hang out, and that was very rewarding. It wasn't my idea. We have a producer, Adam Hart, who came up with this idea. We were in a theater, and we were beaming images up.
Oh boy, you put on a whole song,
like a little PowerPoint presentation.
It was like Mystery Science Theater. It's
wow.
We sat in there.
We actually have one camera angle where it really is, and if I was more witty, it would have been even better. But no, it was.
You watch Plan 9 from Outer Space.
If you touch into the subjects that he wants to talk about, he opens up and elaborates. And I've also learned that you have to learn his personality, right? Like at first I'm like, what is it with why does he feel this way? Why does he do the things he does? And then you kind of learn about how much he loves adversity, how much he loves making people uncomfortable. And you understand that it's just the way he operates. And once the players figured that out, like complete buy-in from every single player on that team. They love him. And the closer I kind of got to it and figured it out, now it makes total sense that they, as strange as his tactics can be, it works.
All right, because if you need any hints on how to get through to Mazzulla, there's a guy sitting right to your right.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Who's broken bread with the man and made quite an impression.
On Media Day, Hardy and I were the station representatives. We saw you there. And, Joe happened to wander back to where we were. He wasn't scheduled to talk to us, but, he sees me. He sees Hardy. He walks over to me. And I've interacted with him before, calling Celtic games. He goes, "Hi, it's good to see you." But he turns to Hardy. He's like, "Hey, how are you? Did you read the book I suggested?" I mean, it was a whole. He lit up like a pinball machine when he saw Hardy. Really, seriously.
You want to hear? You want to vomit? Tell him how you won him over. What reference you got? You want to feel like you want to know who a real insists upon himself fool he is.
Yep.
Go ahead.
He said something about spending some time recently. This is about a year ago. He'd spent some time with his friend Josh, who does a lot of stuff now. He's into jujitsu, but he's got a background in chess and these other things. And I said, "Sounds like you're talking about Josh Waitskin." Ha ha ha. And he said, "That's my friend Josh." And Josh Waitskin is the guy who's featured. He's the subject of the movie Searching for Bobby Fischer, right? He's a chess prodigy, but since then has become an author and a jiu-jitsu champion.
A recluse like Bobby Fischer did.
Not at all.
He
like
is
Bobby
no
Fischer.
fan of minorities
Bobby Fischer
or the Jewish people.
All kinds of issues that Josh does not have. But yeah, we started talking about that, and we had shared some favorite authors, and I also gave him the 5 coins idea. I took out my 5 coins that I actually have already carried, and I said, "If I ever lay one of these at your feet, you're in for a hurting." And he's like, "Tell me more," and that's where he got the 5 coins.
Make sure you bring that up later when you're at the Garden.
Fight Club, yes, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just if you know the name of a chess grandmaster, then you have.
But okay, what was the book? Can
The
you
Art
reveal?
of Winning.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tony Robbins? Tom Vu?
Tom Vu.
Yeah, I mean, who wrote that?
But read some Sebastian Younger while you're at it. Just go down the rabbit hole a little bit.
Yeah.
And anything like you said that kind of embodies the whole
warrior spirit.
Yes. Thank you, Fred. Thank you.
I'm aware of all these things. I not to chess guys, but I think I know what kind of things Mazzulla consumes. I think I'm.
Have you bought into more? Because I think it took people a little bit. But
I think I'm very similar to him, much more similar to him than I thought I was. Out of all the people in Boston that are involved in sports, I think I'm the most similar to him, especially the making people uncomfortable. Dude, I've been to rehab. I've read everything that he's read. There's all rehab books. Like, they're not about addiction, but
no.
But you know what I'm saying?
The Waitskin book, the Art of Learning. It's the Art of Learning. Mm-hmm. It's really about essentially how your mind works, how you can how you can
For sure.
become these things, and
Neuroplasticity.
It doesn't apply to chess, basketball, jiu-jitsu. He uses all those as examples, but it's look, you're going deep down the rabbit hole, Chris. I don't know if it's a trip you're willing to take.
I think you have to, because I love being able to get inside someone's head and understand what makes them tick. And once you understand that, you can better see how it applies to basketball. But these are like little stuff. Everyone was on him about chomping on the gum when he first started. Just got rid of it. Like, he knew like there were things he had to change about himself, but he never lost the authenticity about how he wanted to coach the team and how he wanted to get to an end goal. I think Brad said it best. He has a goal. He doesn't always take the most obvious route to get there, but he gets there.
So you think this is all legitimate buy-in from the team and not a holdover from winning?
1,000%.
Because it's
helps.
easy to buy in when you win the
100%,
championship.
but I could feel it a little bit at the end of last season in terms of, okay, he put us in all these tough spots, and then they saw it in the playoffs. That Indy series, they were like, oh, okay, we get it now. And then you win, and there's further buy-in, and then you just like Joe becomes even more himself, and all of a sudden every killer whale YouTube video he shows makes a little bit more sense. So I think it just took a while.
That's the blue whale offense. It's a whale pot offense.
But it's that Phil Jackson thing, is that you're more than a coach, you're sort of a guru, and then you're talking to young multimillionaires, and that
you have
kind
to
of
find a theme
existential,
that connects you,
but that kind of existential, like I'm teaching you, like I'm teaching you, like how your mind works, like to reach parts of parts of yourself that other people don't take the time to. I think that stuff works.
And this is how it connects to basketball.
I mean, Phil Jackson was always handing those teams books and like teaching them to meditate. And then you listen to Kobe Bryant talk about flow state and all that.
Yeah.
I mean, he was incredibly influenced by Phil Jackson.
They show up on the first day of camp this year, and he shows them videos of sprinters, and they're all like, what is this? Like, what is the message here? And it was all about, right, like there was a Jamaican sprinter who was disappointed, won gold medal, but didn't set a world record. And it's like, what motivates you? And okay, you've won a title, but you can be in a whole different echelon of championship teams. And so the message is obvious in the moment, and then they figure it out. And it's just a unique way where, like, a coach can come in and be like, oh, we have a real opportunity here.
But you just heard it all before.
Right.
And it's not digging.
It's making you think in a way that you would never think about.
Right.
Which is, I think, appealing if you are, someone who's been handed everything. It's the way. I think that's the way to reach people now. But while before you could just be this blind jerk like Bobby Knight and like yell it into them.
Do it because I said so.
Right. Yeah. I think that getting people, knowing that you think about things in a way that they might not get right away, is something that appeals to them. And that, again, just listen to Kobe Bryant talk about like flow state and all that, and like being present. It's all stuff that was certainly influenced by Phil.
And it's
Phil
much
Jackson.
harder to reach, like you were just saying, Chris. It's much harder to reach guys that have won. That's the thing. Kobe and Shaq were great. Phil reached them. Michael Jordan was great. Phil reached them. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are great, and somehow Joe Mazzulla has reached them.
Right. That there is, that there is things that inside of yourself that can be rewarded by continuing this path. That's the thing. Well, listen, Chris Forsberg, it got very existential, but it does when Hardy's involved with Mazzulla. As they have Mazzulla just grabbed the menu. He said, he goes, I got this.
Italian
he ordered
food,
for the
baby.
table.
Have a seat.
He does. He likes ordering the entire menu. That's when the scouting report, if you go to dinner with him.
Oh, yeah.
Likes to try everything.
Everything.
Yeah, he's
Just
one
bring
of
out-
these guys
bring
throws
out
his
one
money
of
around. Nouveau rich, Nouveau rich.
Yeah, he might be nouveau riche, but it is the riche that counts.
No, I mean, there is something called a pedigree. Anyway, Chris Forsberg.
Which you have, we have neither one of. We have neither the riche nor the pedigree.
Oh, no, I'm not. But I'm also, I'm not yet. No,
You know what
I
it
have
is?
neither.
Here it is again. You're just jealous.
I like him. I just said that I like him. I think that we are in some ways similar. It sounds like. All right, Chris, we're both brilliant. That's for sure. Chris Forsberg. Listen, everyone knows him, NBC Sports Boston.
If you like that clip, check out more videos from Toucher and Hardy here. For more Celtics analysis and opinion, hit this playlist. And for all the latest from the Sports Hub, download the app at 985thesportshub.com.